Recibamos al señor Paul Jacobs.
Buenos tardes. Unfortunately, that's all the Spanish I speak, so I'm really happy to be here at the inaugural Tijuana Innovadora. It's, I think, an exciting idea for a gathering of so many companies and people, and really trying to promote the fact that there really is a lot going on in Tijuana that even I didn't know about, and so it's very exciting to be here. Maybe I'll start just by telling you a little bit about Qualcomm. So we make the chips that go into cellular telephones, and we create new technology and license it to over 180 companies around the world. And we have this nice business model where we have ideas at Qualcomm, innovations at Qualcomm, and from that we license, we create a product, we work with manufacturers to put that technology and that product out into the market, working through the wireless operators and then on to the consumer. So we're really 2 steps away from the consumer. But the money that the consumer pays for these interesting new technologies and products goes back to the manufacturers and the operators, then comes back to Qualcomm, and it allows us to fund all the research and development that we do. And since we started 25 years ago, we spent about $14.5 billion on research and development, about $2.5 billion just last year alone. So it's really a company that's very focused on creating new technology, creating new products, bringing these things out to the market as quickly as we can, but really focused on working through partners. We've had a very long history of partnership in Mexico. The biggest part of our business today is, as I said, an indirect business, meaning that we work with manufacturers of handsets, cellular telephones, that are then sold through the operators in Mexico. And because all of the operators have launched 3rd generation or 3G networks, which are based on Qualcomm's technology, we have the wonderful opportunity to work with all of the operators. And I'll tell you, in the early days of the company, we didn't have that opportunity. We were working on one flavor of 3rd generation, and the wireless operators were using, some of the wireless operators were using a different technology. So it was a little bit of a tough relationship, let's say. Now it's a very good relationship, and we're very happy that we're able to work with everybody. But in addition to working with the wireless operators, we also have operations in Mexico. So as I said, the company's 25 years old, but back in 1992, so we're about 7 years old, we started working here on a messaging system for trucks. So it's a satellite-based system. The driver sits in the truck and could get information back and forth from their dispatcher. They could be told where to go to pick up loads, various other kinds of information. And so now there's over 500 companies, transportation companies, using this technology, this system in Mexico, and about 20,000 units on trucks and other vehicles that are operating today. And so really it changed the way that transportation companies operated in Mexico, because it allowed them to be in contact in real time and manage their logistics in real time. The second piece of our direct business in Mexico is that we have a facility for manufacturing here, and it's a relatively small if you compare it to, for example, Plantronics factory, but we have about 120 people in that factory. It really does some degree of product manufacturing. It actually started in 2004, building some of the units for the trucking business, and now it actually works with some of our chipset customers, because as they design a phone, they need to come and interface with our engineers, or many times they'll want to buy some components from us, or some development boards, various things to assist them in their ability to design a product. And so many of these things are built here in Tijuana. So let's talk about just the cellular telephone in general. This is a thought I'd like to leave you with, because the cellular phone, it's the largest platform that mankind has created. And why do I say that? Because there's over 5 billion subscriptions today. So you think about the scale and the scope of the use of wireless technology. It's everywhere, and you know it yourselves because everybody uses it. Is there anybody in the room that doesn't have a cellular telephone? I don't think so. And I'm sure many of you also have 3G phones, because of those 5 billion, today over 1 billion people are using this third generation technology. And what's really exciting about third generation is that it's not just for voice communications. As we all know now, you have access to the internet and to applications and all sorts of exciting capabilities that you get on that thing that you used to just make phone calls with. So that's pretty exciting. And if you look forward in the next few years, 4 years from now, there's expected to be 2.8 billion people using this technology around the world. And you know, we've actually added about 1 billion connections in the last 18 months, of which 40% of those new connections of wireless are 3G. So it's growing extremely, extremely rapidly. About 10 subscribers every second are coming on to a 3G network. So that's pretty exciting. And it's really, what it's done is that it's allowed us to provide mobile broadband to people around the world. And so if you look, if you compare the fixed internet, the internet where you have to go somewhere and sit down in front of your computer to use it, versus the internet that you carry with you whenever you take your phone with you, you can see that the momentum behind the wireless internet, the mobile internet, is so great that it really will, it's expected to surpass this year, that there will be more people getting broadband access to the internet through their phone than getting access to the internet over a personal computer. And if you look out even farther, the gap just grows dramatically. And so if you look out into 2014, 75% of the people who are getting broadband access to the internet are going to be getting that over their cell phone. And so that's just phenomenal. And what that means, it's a vision that we've had from very early on in the company, that the wireless internet was going to make a bigger impact on the world than the wired internet. And that's really coming true right now. So how's this happening? Well, the networks, as you know, they're changing in terms of their generations. We're getting new networks, new speeds, new capabilities out there in the world. And it's happening because the demand is there. And so if you look at data traffic on these networks now, already data traffic exceeds the voice traffic. Everybody thought of their cell phone as a voice device, like I said, but now it's already exceeded voice is already exceeded by data traffic. And so that's pretty interesting. But now if you look forward to 2014 again, the traffic that's generated in a single month in 2014 will exceed all of the traffic for the year of 2008. And I personally think that that may actually be too little. I suspect that data traffic is growing so rapidly, it may turn out that it's actually going to be faster than that and more than that. If you talk to the operators, they're certainly having a hard time keeping up with the kind of demand that people have for video and other kinds of entertainment, for social networking, all these sorts of capabilities that you get on your cell phone today. And if you think about it, it really was not that long ago that we had big bag phones that only a few people could afford. And it really was not that long ago that we had phones with cameras. The first time we had phones with cameras, or the first times we had phones with color screens on them. This is not something that happened very long ago. And so the pace of evolution has really happened quite quickly. Now what's also interesting about this network evolution is that if you look out 1 year, 50% of the 3G subscriptions and handsets, devices, are going to be in emerging markets. So this is not at all a case where you have high technology developed for a market like the United States or Europe or Japan, and then it trickles down. That is not what's happening here. The technology is going into emerging markets, and it's allowing those markets to leapfrog so that they have access to broadband capabilities, access to the internet very quickly, and people are adopting this very, very quickly. So let's look at a few different markets. In China, we're expecting between 2009 and 2014 growth of 640%. So tremendous, tremendous growth. Why is that? Because they launched their 3G networks just last year. India, similar sort of situation. The number looks a little less. In absolute numbers, it's actually going to be quite large. And the reason why the number looks a little less is because they started with an earlier version of 3G, and now just last year, the Indian government just allowed, sorry, it was this year, just allowed the auctions of other 3G licenses. So they're continuing to grow, tremendous growth, hundreds of millions of new subscribers coming on those networks. And now if we look at Latin America, also tremendous growth happening here. If you look at it from today, there's about 86 million total mobile subscribers in Mexico. About 8.4 million of those are 3G, and we're looking at that's going to grow to about 40.5 million subscribers by 2014. So tremendous, tremendous growth rate in Mexico, and the leading operators, obviously, Telcel's got 61 million subscribers. They operate GSM, which is a previous generation of technology, but now WCDMA and HSPA, which are these third-generation technologies that Qualcomm created. Movistar, 18 million subscribers. They also operate the same kinds of technologies. Usucell with the CDMA 2000 has a version 1X and then another version called EVDO Revision A, and they're also launching HSPA. So these operators are onto the 3G networks, and those networks are continuing to grow very, very strongly. Now, the networks are interesting. They give you capability, but what you really care about is that thing that you carry around with you, and the hardware that you carry around, the phone that you have in your pocket, that's changing very, very dramatically. And so if you look at our business in terms of building capabilities into the chipsets, really tremendous things are going on. And just as I said, we aren't seeing high-end features trickle down to emerging markets. What we found as a company was that we had to invest very heavily both at the low end of the market and at the high end. And we actually spend similar kinds of amounts of money. And the reason is because at the low end of the market, people are expecting very inexpensive phones.